You're waiting for a world that doesn't exist. You think if you work harder, smile wider, or bleed more publicly, the crowd will finally carry you. But the crowd doesn't lift men, it uses them. The crowd will never love you into power. Look around your office. The likable co-worker who cracks jokes, earns applause, and is quietly passed over for promotion. In relationships, the one who bends, sacrifices, gives everything, and still gets left behind. Affection does not create gravity. People don't orbit because they care. They orbit because gravity forces them. Respect, leverage, consequence, that's gravity. The employee who delivers results even when disliked keeps his seat when the recession cuts. The startup that launches first, without approval, bends the market to its will. That is how power moves, not through love, but through necessity. So today we bury the addiction to sympathy. No more begging to be seen, no more waiting for applause to act. We replace it with something unbreakable: indifference, leverage, necessity. 7 techniques, 7 cuts. Bury the need for sympathy, weaponize silence, turn pain into leverage, build in solitude, become fox and lion, aim for respect, not affection, move before applause. When they stop clapping, you don't stop moving, you start conquering. That is how power begins. Law of the unshaken. Starve the need, feed the will. Needing care makes you predictable, and predictable men are governed. Think of the co-worker who whines about being tired or stressed. Everyone knows his code. Offer him a little sympathy, and he melts. He softens, lowers his guard, agrees to anything. That's how the world reads your need, as a leash ready to be yanked. Kill the need, and you kill their handle on you. Without it, they have nothing to grip, nothing to use, nothing to own. Starve the need, feed the will. In any negotiation, the desperate man is the loser before words are even spoken. The landlord smells your anxiety. The client feels your hunger. The woman senses your craving for her approval, and in that moment, you are no longer a man, but a beggar. But the one who starves his need, who walks away without tremor, who feeds only his will, that man becomes leverage itself. Here lies the truth most refuse to face. You perform pain. You broadcast weakness like an amateur seeking applause. You post vague laments online, fishing for validation. You confide in the wrong person, hoping for comfort. And your words become gossip, ammunition, entertainment. Every time you bleed in public, you discount your value. You think you're buying intimacy, but you're auctioning your dignity. Machiavelli warned, "It is safer to be feared than loved, but never hated." Study that. The strict boss is not loved, yet deadlines bow before him. The nice guy boss is adored, until he must enforce a rule. Then, love dissolves into mockery. Love is weather. Fear is steel, and dignity, once stripped for laughter, it never returns. Once you become the clown, you stay the clown. So stop trading tears for attention. The man who vents his frustrations becomes the office jester. The friend who always complains becomes the call no one answers. But the man who holds his tongue, who signals consequence instead of complaint, he becomes untouchable. His silence unsettles, his composure commands. People adjust their tone when they speak to him. That is the currency of power, the unspoken tax of respect. Delete every public lament for 90 days. Feel heartbreak? Resist the urge to post. Feel ignored? Replace "why don't they care" with "what must I build?" When loneliness strikes, train. When rejected, advance. Keep your promises to yourself as if your life depends on it, because it does. If you say you'll wake at 6, wake at 6. If you vow to save 500, save it. And remember, affection is optional. Discipline is not. A partner may leave, a friend may fade, but the man of will remains. lodged in solitude, armored in consistency. When you bury your need for sympathy, you rise beyond reach. You become non-negotiable. Picture two men who lose their job. One weeps to anyone who will listen. The other updates his resume, sharpens his tone, and moves. Who gets hired? Who earns respect? The one who didn't beg. Let them like you, let them fear you, but never let them own you. That is power.
Hey guys, we're Wisdom, based in Abu Dhabi. We use AI tools to make these concepts come to life, but it's our amazing team who goes deep, breaking down powerful philosophical ideas and showing how they really apply in everyday life. We hope you enjoyed today's content.
Law of controlled thunder. Weaponize silence. Silence isn't absence, it's pressure. Picture the job interview. One candidate fills the air with nervous chatter, scrambling to impress. The other answers once, then stops. The pause hangs like a blade. The room shifts. Everyone listens. Everyone remembers. Silence forces revelation. It makes others rush, stumble, overexpose. In their panic to fill the void, they spill their intentions, their fears, their weaknesses. Speak rarely. Decide loudly. Picture a meeting. One man drowns in his own words, desperate to be liked. Another sits still, impassive, unreadable. He speaks once, ends the debate. His silence echoes longer than any speech. That's authority. That's control. But most of you can't stand the quiet. You over-explain. You justify. You audition for approval with every extra word. You text like beggars. Paragraphs, then follow-ups, then apologies for sending too much. It's not communication. It's submission. And the world smells it. Weakness attracts flatterers. They feed your ego with false praise until your judgment rots. They use your need for validation to steer your choices, and you obey, thinking you're being appreciated. You're not. You're being handled. Machiavelli warned, "A prince who listens to every voice will be destroyed by flatterers. Let only chosen ministers speak truth, but always decide alone." Today, that means this. If every opinion, every tweet, every co-worker's noise enters your head, you are no longer thinking. You are being programmed. You don't rule your mind. You rent it. So close the gates. Control your inputs. Curate your counsel. Silence becomes your filter, your fortress. Running a project? Don't beg for consensus. Command clarity. Choose 3 minds you trust. Hear their facts. Then decide alone. Everyone else gets status updates, not strategy. Writing an email. Don't craft a novel. Deliver a strike. 1 sentence, clean, cold, final. Brevity breeds gravity. And when it's time to think, isolate. 3 hours, no phone, no noise. Just you, your thoughts, and your decisions. That's your blackout block. While others react, you refine. While they chatter, you calculate. Understand this. Silence is not weakness, it's a weapon. It cuts noise from power, flattery from truth, weakness from authority. The undisciplined man fills the air with his insecurity. The disciplined man commands silence. And in that silence, the world bends to his tempo. Because when he finally chooses to speak, every word lands like a verdict. That is power. Law of the forge. Turn pain into leverage. Pain is wasted when it buys pity, but it's priceless when it buys power. Everyone bleeds, everyone suffers, but the weak waste their wounds, holding them up like beggars, hoping for sympathy. They get a pat on the back at best, and quiet contempt at worst. But the rare man converts pain into power. He doesn't confess. He converts. He takes the same wound that crippled others and forges it into a weapon. Convert, don't confess. Picture 2 entrepreneurs who fail. One spills his story online, craving applause for his resilience. The other disappears, studies the wreckage, builds a system so the same failure never strikes again. Years later, one has followers. The other has an empire. But here's the rot in most of you. You still think your scars make you sacred. You parade your pain as if it grants immunity. You believe saying, "I've been through so much," should earn you gentleness. It won't. People don't protect you because you're hurt. They protect you because you're useful. Look at the workplace. The employee who constantly shares his struggles becomes invisible. Background noise. But the one who channels his struggle into output, into measurable results, becomes untouchable. His wounds buy leverage. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He wrote of founders who relied on their own arms, not faith, not pity, but force. Visionaries without power were devoured by the world. Translate that today. Belief is nothing without proof. When they stop believing your story, make them believe your results. Skill, systems, leverage. These are your modern weapons. Pain is not something to display, it's something to distill. Think of the boxer who loses a fight. He doesn't post about it. He re-watches every second of footage until his own mistakes disgust him. Then he rebuilds, faster, meaner, sharper, or the man fired from his job. If he builds his own business, the rejection that once humiliated him becomes his founding myth. The wound becomes the fortress. So apply this law with precision. Within 48 hours of every wound, extract its lesson and turn it into process. Got betrayed in a deal? List the red flags you ignored. Build a checklist that no one can slip through again. That checklist is armor. Each quarter, forge one new leverage asset, a distribution channel they can't touch, a patent they can't copy, a contract they can't break. Never measure sympathy received. Measure systems created. Count not your tears. Count your tools. Ask, how many defenses, how many engines, how many fortresses have I built from pain this year? Stop begging pain to protect you. Command it to produce for you. Because pity fades, systems endure. And when you master this alchemy, when your scars build power, the world stops offering you comfort. They offer you respect, or they offer you fear. Either way, you win. Law of the Iron Chamber. Build in solitude. Isolation is not exile. It's a foundry. Kings are not minted beneath applause. They are forged in silence. The athlete who hears the crowd on fight night is only reaping what he earned in empty gyms under flickering lights when no one was watching. That's where power is born, not in celebration, but in solitude. Retreat to advance. Picture two professionals. One spends every evening chasing company, dinners, parties, endless scrolling, lost in the narcotic hum of noise. The other spends that same hour in study, in sharpening, in building. Fast forward 5 years. One has stories. The other has mastery. Solitude wins. Every time. But here's the sickness. You fear silence. You treat solitude like punishment. You run from your own thoughts because the quiet exposes you. It forces you to confront the gap between who you are and who you pretend to be. Noise is your sedative. Applause is your anesthetic. You drown yourself in chatter, in company, in distraction. Anything to avoid seeing how unfinished you are. But understand this. Kings are not made in crowds. They are made in the dark, where no one claps and no one comforts. Machiavelli knew this truth. Each night, he shed the mud of the day, dressed in robes, and entered what he called the courts of the ancients. For 4 hours, he read the minds of history's giants, kings, conquerors, philosophers. There, in silence, he felt no poverty, no pain, only power. That ritual fed him more than any company could. Translate it today. Trade noise for knowledge. Trade company for command. Don't scroll through debates about power. Read the texts that built it. Don't gossip about success. Architect your own. Don't waste solitude. Weaponize it. Your quiet becomes your advantage. It's where others rot from distraction while you sharpen your edge unseen. Here's how you apply this law. Build a nightly 60-minute ritual, your personal court of the ancients. Feed your mind with substance, Marcus Aurelius, Napoleon, Churchill, or modern empire builders. Study not opinions, outcomes. Create a private war room document. List your goals, your constraints, your allies, your assets, your enemies. Meet with that document weekly as if it were your war council, and once each quarter, retreat entirely. 48 hours offline. No phone, no chatter. Just you, your strategy, and your will. Because solitude is not hiding, it's arming. You don't retreat to escape. You retreat to reload, and when you return, the air shifts. People feel the difference. They can't explain it, but they sense it. The silence that built you now surrounds you like armor. They'll ask how you did it. You won't answer. You'll let your results speak, and your silence echo. That is power. Law of the fox-lion. Rule through duality. Strength without cunning is blunt. Cunning without strength is brittle. But fused together, they become inevitability itself. The man who can mask like a fox and strike like a lion cannot be cornered. He slips through snares. He breaks wolves. He advances while others collapse. Mask like a fox. Strike like a lion. In business, this is how real power operates. The fox designs the charming pitch deck, the handshake, the promise of mutual benefit. But behind that polished smile, the lion waits, hidden in the contract's clause, in penalty clauses, in collateral that ensures victory even in failure. The crowd praises cooperation. The conqueror designs the trap. But here's your flaw. You lean too far one way. You worship nice. You think politeness protects you. You nod, agree, stay flexible, and become everyone's tool. Or you overcorrect. You roar. You flex strength without subtlety and expose yourself to every alliance that wants to see you fall. Both are amateurs. Look at the office. The agreeable one drowns in extra work. The aggressive one gets isolated, labeled difficult, quietly removed. But the fox-lion? He smiles. He listens. He agrees. And then rewrites the deadlines, secures the resources, and leaves with a promotion. His civility is a mask. His dominance, a fact. Machiavelli laid it bare. A ruler must act as both man and beast, law and fool. He invoked Chiron, the centaur who trained kings, half reason, half instinct. Be both. Keep promises only when safe to keep. Be the fox against traps, the lion against wolves. Translated to today. Never martyr yourself for ideals. Keep your image stainless, your methods surgical. Signal virtue. Practice strategy. The politician who campaigns on hope and unity, fox. The same man who, behind closed doors, cuts ruthless deals, lion. Both faces, one will. Even in relationships, duality rules. The fox is calm, poised, gracious. But when someone crosses your boundaries, the lion enforces them, instantly, without apology. Your surface stays composed, your core remains unbreakable. Here's how to apply the law. Pre-plan exits for every alliance. Never sign a contract without collateral. Never enter negotiation without a second path of retreat. If you rent, have a backup property. If you invest, have an escape clause. If you commit, know the extraction route. That's your fox's path. Then, build your lion's strike. Write clauses that punish betrayal. Set terms that reward your control. Build leverage so strong it roars on your behalf. Maintain two narratives, the public one, mission, growth, virtue. The private one, margins, control, power. And if terms turn against you, pivot. The fool dies clinging to consistency. The strategist survives by shifting form. The fox survives by adapting. The lion survives by conquering. Together they rule. In a world of wolves and traps, be the creature that survives both. Smile like a fox. Strike like a lion. That is inevitability. That is power. Law of the iron standard. Aim for respect, not affection. Affection is seasonal. Respect compounds. Affection shifts with moods, gossip, and convenience. But respect, once earned and enforced, accumulates like interest. It outlives rumors. It outlasts betrayal. Choose respect. Accept fear. In the workplace, the manager who chases friendship is adored for a season. Everyone laughs, relaxes, and quietly ignores him. His kindness becomes permission. His approval becomes a leash around his own neck. But the manager who commands respect, he isn't adored. He's obeyed. His absence is noticed. His presence carries weight. Which would you rather be? Liked or listened to? Here's your sickness. You crave affection. You think likability is loyalty. So you soften your tone, lower your standards, forgive what deserves punishment, all to stay liked. Every time you do, you trade authority for approval. You sell your throne for applause. Think of the parent who never enforces bedtime because they fear the child's tears. In the moment, the child loves them. In time, the child learns to walk over them. Love unguarded becomes contempt. Machiavelli warned centuries ago, people are ungrateful, unreliable, driven by self-interest. The ruler who seeks love will be abandoned the moment fortune turns. It is safer to be feared than loved, provided you avoid hatred. And how do you avoid hatred? By never violating what people believe is theirs, their property, their dignity, their sense of fairness. Translate that to today. Deliver outcomes, guard boundaries, but never humiliate. At work, never steal credit, that breeds hatred, but enforce deadlines with steel, that breeds respect. In relationships, never attack dignity with insults, but enforce boundaries like law. They don't need to like you, they need to heed you. Here's how to apply the law. Enforce standards without apology. Stop explaining your principles. Post them, live them, let consequences speak. Never touch what people view as sacred. Their pay, their recognition, their time, unless the reasoning is airtight and the optics are clean. Praise in private, punish in private, but perform in public, visibly, consistently, so your results speak for you. That's how you build a reputation of unshakable command. People will love you when it's safe. They will respect you when it matters. And when the storms come, and it won't be affection that keeps your position, it will be respect. Because affection fades when tested. Respect hardens when challenged. The man of affection is remembered fondly. The man of respect is remembered forever. That is power. Law of the first strike. Move before applause. Momentum beats consensus. By the time the crowd approves, the moment has already died. The cautious wait for permission. The decisive reshape the map. The startup that debates dies in committee. The one that ships first, even flawed, defines the standard the rest must chase. History never crowns the careful. It crowns the bold. Strike while they stall. Picture the corporate meeting. Endless discussion, cautious planning, circular approval chains. While they argue, one ambitious mind runs a weekend test, gathers data, and returns Monday with results. While they debate theory, he owns reality. That's power, acting before applause, conquering before consensus. But here's your weakness. You delay. You rename fear as prudence. You call hesitation strategy. It isn't strategy. It's paralysis in a suit. You wait for perfect timing, for validation, for signals that never come. By the time you move, someone else has already claimed what you wanted. In business, in relationships, in creation. Fortune doesn't wait. It rewards the hand already in motion. Machiavelli knew this. He admired Pope Julius II, a man who forced fortune. Julius never waited for permission. He acted, and reality bent around him. Better to be impetuous, Machiavelli wrote, than cautious, because fortune favors movement. Here's the modern translation. Stop waiting for applause. Move first, correct later. Build prototypes, launch drafts, test versions. Let reality be your feedback loop, not a committee of cowards still rehearsing safety. Conversation builds opinions. Action builds empires. Apply the law with precision. The 72-hour rule. From idea to action within 3 days. Always. Have a concept, build a test, record the video, draft the outline, launch something real. Pre-commit publicly, announce deliverables before approval. You'll have the draft Friday, then deliver. You force movement, you force momentum, you force respect. Default. Yes. Execution. Schedule progress like meetings with power. Non-negotiable. Let the system move you when emotion hesitates. Do not wait for green lights. Do not linger at intersections while others argue about signals. You build the intersection. That's how you stay ahead. Not by talking faster, but by moving first. Because action creates leverage that conversation never can. And in the empire of motion, the first mover writes the law. Others seek applause. You build momentum. Others crave permission. You command inevitability. That is power. The world will not carry you, and that is good. Because the absence of rescue is not your ruin, it is your forge. So bury the need that makes you predictable. Starve it until no one can pull your strings. Weaponize silence. Let others choke on their own noise. Turn your pain into systems, not stories. Let every scar harden into infrastructure. Withdraw into solitude, not to hide, but to reload. In the dark, build what the noisy will one day obey. Become both fox and lion, the unreadable mask and the unstoppable strike. Smile with strategy. Hit with precision. Seek respect, not affection. Affection fades with convenience. Respect endures under pressure. And when the crowd hesitates, move first, before permission, before applause, before it's safe. Machiavelli never preached fairness. He mapped reality. And reality obeys a single law. Men bow to consequence, not confession. They follow necessity, not need. So stop begging to be cared for. Stop pleading to be understood. Become necessary. Build such weight in skill, in leverage, in presence, that the world bends around you. And when it does, watch how quickly they pretend they always believed in you. That is not comfort. That is clarity. That is command. That is power.
Thanks for spending time with us. If this sparked a new way of thinking, hit like and subscribe to keep the ideas flowing. And don't forget, check the description for the links to the resources and the original books we used today. We'll see you in the next one.